Hey guys, Alcomedo. Welcome to another video. I'm here with special guests. They are a couple cosplay. They've been cosplaying since 2009, and they have traveled over 50 conventions and have over 100 cosplays under their belt. They're very prominent in the community, especially supporting the community by showing how they make their cosplays and going to events like this and just telling about what they do. So please welcome Aicosu.
Hi, I'm Sheila.
I'm Styler.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much for interviewing with me today.
Of course.
Okay, so first off, what are you cosplaying today?
Today I'm an astrologian from Final Fantasy XIV.
And I'm a machinist from the same game.
Okay, and of course I saw some of those pictures, so you made this yourself. What was the most difficult part about making these?
For me, the most difficult part was tailoring the dress. I'm not super great at tailoring and sewing, so I wanted to make the ball gown. I wanted to make it fit, and it's a specific shape, and so that was the hardest part. And I made this costume too.
Okay.
So the hardest part with this one is the same thing, tailoring the jacket. Anything that's sewing is a little bit more difficult for me.
All the armors and belts and all that stuff is easy peasy. That's the kind of stuff that she's like, oh, I'll just bang that out.
Yeah.
So how do you overcome that? Do you just keep on practicing or get some sewing classes or something?
Yeah, it's really just about a learning experience, because even if you have classes, like I haven't taken classes, but I've taken like workshops and stuff, and I've had my dad teach me how to sew and stuff, but no matter how much learning in a classroom you have, you're still going to have failures, and you're still going to have parts of a costume that you're not going to be able to get over. It's really just experience and practice. It's only because I've made, several different things that are tailored to fit him that I've kind of gotten closer and closer to the perfect, tailoring to him. And the same thing with me. So like most of this is after like 6 other failed costumes that didn't fit him quite right, and this one kind of fits better, and the same thing. So
How did you come up with the name Aicosu?
Aicosu is a Japanese portmanteau of I for aishiteru, and cosplay or kosu. So Aicosu is love cosplay or lovers cosplay.
Oh, okay.
A couple cosplay.
Because,
exactly.
we're a thing.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, very simple. Okay, so how did you start doing cosplay as a couple?
It was really just by, organicness. Once we started dating, we met at a convention.
Okay.
And I was cosplaying at the time, and he'd always wanted to cosplay, but Tyler doesn't know how to make them, and so I told him, I'll make you a cosplay, And then once we started dating, we immediately drifted to our OTP. So once you cosplay one OTP, you gotta cosplay all the other OTPs.
So that sort of just became our thing, being as a couple, just whenever we cosplayed. I think the number of costumes we have where the characters aren't somehow related versus the number of costumes we do is maybe a ratio of like 10 to 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all of our cosplays are based on what we're into at the time. So it's really, we're wearing these because I play an astrologian on Final Fantasy Online.
I play a machinist.
Yeah,
and it's just a matter of
these are our favorite classes, so I was like, we have to do these. We have to represent our game. So, and all of our other stuff in our OTP, it really is because we started watching a show, or we started playing a video game, and we ship them and like those characters. And if we cosplay apart from each other, it's really just because he really loves that character, or I really love this one. So, yeah.
Do you think that's a very important aspect of cosplaying?
I think it makes cosplay easier. I've done costumes. There are costumes that we get hired to do, or we decide to do because we like the design, or we think we'll fit that character pretty well. And it's not essential to cosplay for you to love the character, but it does make it easier when you hit hard times.
If you have a passion for the thing you're going for, it's easier to get over points where you feel sort of disenchanted with the process.
Yeah.
Where it's not necessary. There are plenty of people who make costumes for things that they don't know or they don't have much care about other than doing the costume itself, and that's completely fine. It's not like if those people truck through it, it's not like you can look at anyone and be like, well, you don't care about it, so you don't get to cosplay that.
Yeah, exactly. It's really there's no good reason to cosplay. There's a lot of people I know who actually
we don't mean there's no good reason to cosplay. There's no reason that's better than somebody else's.
I know several cosplayers who don't actually play video games and they don't actually like anime or manga, but they love the designs. And especially as cosplayers, if they love sewing for sewing's sake, and they see something they want to sew, that kind of passion is, equal to loving that character. Right. So.
Okay, so different aspects of cosplay.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start from the roots. So what was your first cosplay as a couple?
Our first couple cosplay was
Lush and Shirley from Code Geass.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what was your first con with that?
Saboten 2009. It was an Arizona convention.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how was that experience? I mean, that's the first time you went out together, and I mean, how was the reaction of the
She had
fans?
been cosplaying before me.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I
She'd
had
been
cosplayed
cosplaying for a
before
while
him,
before me.
but cosplaying with you together was like, as soon as we did, I think we were addicted. Like, it totally explains why we're here today.
Yeah.
It's because we liked that experience.
That experience
so
was
much.
like,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah, there's something about posing together and like bringing your favorite couple to life, even like as a couple. It's like it really is for us like another like fulfillment of our relationship.
Yeah.
You know, and when you're bringing like that dynamic into the relationship itself, it really kind of, I don't know, you share a whole new experience with each other that you don't share with anybody else. So
Okay. What have you learned from cosplay as a person or as a cosplayer?
I mean, aside from like a lot of number of skills, you know,
Okay.
I mean, before cosplay, I didn't know how to sew. I certainly didn't know how to prop or make weapons or paint weapons or anything like that. I knew nothing about spray paint, knew nothing about like fiberglass. I know all these things now. I know how to like mold and cast resin gems. It's like those skills that you just would never have picked. But we've also learned to be way more confident, way more social, and like I've learned how to Photoshop, how to social media. I mean, that goes hand in hand with cosplay. I learned like photography and stuff. But I guess the biggest one is confidence and social stuff, because before conventions and cosplay, I was very antisocial, very shy, very insecure, and like didn't have that many friends. And cosplay's changed that utterly and completely.
It's very somewhat similar, you know. It's a skills thing, and for me personally, it was a matter of learning sort of like social know-hows in a way that like I can be very dominating in a conversation, and I can be very overbearing in a conversation. I talk too much, I'm hyperactive, that sort of thing. Being around so many people and doing so much interaction, you really learn how to
The ins and outs of conversation.
exactly,
Yeah.
you know, and you people would think like, oh, it's just a conversation, you don't gotta overthink it. And it's not a matter of overthinking it, it's about getting it into your body, the feeling of sharing a conversational space and sharing a social space with a bunch of people. And it also helps you to you know, really appreciate people who have a different view than you.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you go to a convention and everybody's going to have different tastes, everybody's going to have different beliefs, that sort of thing.
And cosplay's mostly about interpretation. You know, like just because I use this fabric for this dress doesn't mean another fabric isn't just as great, you know, and you learn that kind of thing. And then, I mean, with cosplay, you learn budgeting, you learn time management, hopefully. So, yeah, we learn all kinds of stuff from cosplay. We totally recommend it to parents and all kinds of stuff for a very good, productive activity.
Okay. So from the very first cosplay as Code Geass until like now, how do you think you've progressed, or what do you think? How have you progressed?
Well, our Code Geass cosplays were bought, so that's one thing.
Oh,
You know, we bought
Nothing
them.
wrong with that.
No, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But
We always talk about how there's no correct version of cosplay. You
Yeah.
know, cosplaying doesn't have to be expensive. Cosplaying doesn't have to be hard.
yeah, the only difference that's changed is, I mean, like we still buy costumes. We cosplayed Star-Lord and Gamora a year ago or so, back when Guardians of the Galaxy came out. Both those costumes are completely bought, 100%. And we've learned, like, really the only time we don't like buy from the thrift store and alter is if we can't. Like, I couldn't find a dress exactly this
You
shape
can find
somewhere.
a jacket exactly
So
like
I
the shape
have to
somewhere.
make
So
it. Yeah, but if we have a chance to buy something and alter it, or if we have a chance to just buy a cosplay straight out, we totally will.
yeah, like I cosplay General Hux from the most recent Star Wars recently, and his entire outfit is made out of like 4 different blazers and like
Yeah,
dinner jackets and stuff like
exactly,
that,
yeah.
just cut up and reappropriated.
Yeah, and the hat, the Imperial hat, is made from another cosplayer. So yeah, exactly.
Not for a cosplayer, a different cosplay.
No, well, it's made. The Imperial hat is the official.
You said cosplayer.
Oh.
Like we turned a person into a hat.
Oh no.
No.
Oh, so real magic, huh?
Made by
Person
another
hat.
cosplayer. Made by
Yeah,
another cosplayer.
exactly.
We're not Hannibal cosplayers. Well, we are.
Yeah.
But we did cosplay Hannibal, but we're not,
We're not
Hannibals.
that way.
What do you think when you're going to cons? What is like the top 5 essential things you need to bring with you?
Safety pins, for sure. A hot glue gun if you can manage it. That's one too, right?
I mean, a hot glue gun if you're traveling to a convention.
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
just going to a con for a day, like safety pins
Yeah.
and food and or drink.
Yeah, food and granola bar.
Right.
Always carry like a granola bar or protein bar. Let me think. There's a couple other ones that are pretty good. I like bringing makeup wipes because you never know if you stain yourself or if your makeup does go like jarry or something.
Also on the same note, like your backup makeup, just like
Yeah.
a quick like, oh, this
To
is my
touch up,
foundation
yeah.
or this is my lip stuff or that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So another question: Where do you put it? Or do you make pockets?
Most of the time we do make secret pockets. So
I was
like
always wondering about that.
yeah, I wear Elizabeth from BioShock. And she has like a skirt and like a shirt and there's no pockets. When I made that costume, I made like pockets on the inside of the skirt, like low on the ground. So I would like shove things in it so I could throw it at people. But yeah, we do generally make invisible pockets, or we use like our boots, or like right into your chest or something like that. Yeah, like right in here.
A lot of times I have a belt on to keep my pants up. I'll shove stuff in the space between my hip and my belt.
You
Because it's
can
generally
have-
a tight space where things will just stay.
Yeah, today we've kind of forgot just because we wanted to make these costumes a little more pristine, and for sure, like you can totally bring a bag too. You can totally bring a bag and have a friend hold it.
Right. I mean, because I don't think a lot of people don't have like handlers, what they call it,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Or
true,
friends who can go with you.
That's where the invisible pockets.
I mean,
comes
we're
in
not
handy.
guests at every convention, and a lot of the time it's just us. So
Yeah.
we find a way to manage, like, all right, what is the least we can take today?
Exactly. Yeah.
But of the things that we need to take.
Shove your keys into your hat.
It's like, oh, I got cards and my money and my boot, and
Yep.
and I'm keeping my phone on my hip, and
Yep. We try.
Right. So what do you think of those cosplay stations that have been popping up? Is that really helpful, you think?
repair station.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
great.
amazing. The
It's
fact
so
that cons
nice.
have continued to offer those since they started to pop up is incredible.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've had cosplays that go ARI. Like there's just sometimes where it just something falls off, and really a lot of the times maybe all you need is tape or safety pin just to fix it for the rest of the day. So it's amazing that cons are bringing that service. It's awesome. Keep doing it.
Let's talk about maybe etiquette. So what do you think maybe the top 3 or top 5 etiquettes that, let's say, for cosplayers need to do for non-cosplayers? Or vice versa?
It's more, I guess it's just about like being in the space of the con and just being aware of your surroundings, like cosplayers that have big props or like me with a big dress. Like a lot of times, like no one expects you to wear that kind of thing, so it's got to be me that has to control where I'm moving. And I have to
Exactly.
be
It's not
responsible.
up to it's only slightly up to everybody else to be constantly aware of their surroundings, but as a cosplayer entering a convention space, be aware of your in position
Yeah, exactly.
on the space. Like if you're going to a con wearing 6-foot wings in every direction, it's not only somebody else's fault if they run into it.
And it's all about communication.
Partially,
it's
like
just,
if you're gonna move through a space in something big, maybe constantly be saying "excuse me" as you move through.
Yeah.
To the point of like maybe people are like, all right.
And like everything else with the con and etiquette is all about communication. So if it's like, I don't know if I should take a photo, just ask,
Exactly.
Yeah, or if, maybe if a cosplayer doesn't want a photo taking, like just telling. Because a lot of cosplayers will get their photo taken if they don't want it right now because people will just come up and take it. But if you really just outstretch and say, hey, I'm really sorry, I don't really want photos right now.
Exactly.
A simple word is going to solve the problem.
Really, it doesn't need to be a big thing. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of like, hey, I don't want pictures right now.
Yeah, it's all
Oh,
just
okay,
about
that's
speaking
cool.
up. Yeah.
That's fine, And as a cosplayer, also understand that you're there, you're in costume. People are going to want to take pictures.
Yeah.
Try not to be as adverse when you're not in a picture mood to
Yeah.
people who want pictures because they don't know you.
Yeah,
They don't know
exactly.
what your state is right now. Just be calm, be nice, be like, hey, sorry, no pictures.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
But like, for example, like if people are sitting down or they're eating or something like that, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want to be bothered with pictures, things
Me
like
personally, don't mind, but a lot of the times, like, I know
I don't think
cons are so huge. So, like, a lot of the times when I see a con or a cosplayer and I know that they're eating, but they're, like, my favorite character of all time, like, that excitement, like, I understand that excitement. And even though I've been on the other side where I really don't want photos taken because I'm taking repair, that's the simple communication
that's
thing.
the communication thing.
Because
Like, it
there's
doesn't,
plenty of times...
if you're in that position, it doesn't hurt you
There's plenty of
to
times...
get asked, you know? It's no imposition on you sitting on the ground eating if somebody says, hey, can I take a picture? And you have to take a second to say no,
Yeah.
you know?
We really don't mind. And, like, there's been plenty of times where we're sitting and eating and, like, someone tells us later that they didn't want to bother us. I'm like, you totally could have, you know, like, it's totally fine to come up to us and just ask, because we'll tell them straight out, no, I'm really sorry, we
Exactly.
can't.
There's
And,
no
yeah.
stupid question as long as the question's not rude.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
So after the costumes are done, do you redo it or do you keep them somewhere or what do you do with it?
Most of the times we, like, throw them away.
A
A
lot
lot
of
of
the
people
time with
freak out
us
about that, yeah.
is we don't wear costumes more than once, generally speaking. And it's not like a rule. It's not like we go, oh, we only wear it once and that's it, you know, like some weird
We just get
ritualistic
so
thing.
excited about other things, you
Yeah.
know? And then, like, once we wear it, we're kind of like, okay, wish fulfilled. And, like, we're
Exactly.
immediately, like, we're already talking about, like, we need to do other things now. So, like, we might rewear these. It just depends. And then, like, sometimes, very rarely, we'll go back and fix something or make it a little better. If we're planning on rewearing it, like, we plan to rewear these maybe, I might go in and fix, like, or tweak a few things. But that's about it.
We've done more recently with wearing things more than once.
Yeah,
you know,
but generally it's really just because we get way too overexcited for 1,000
for other
things.
and we can't manage all of the old costumes and be bringing them out with the space that we
Yeah,
want to
you
leave
lose
for all
space
the new
too.
things.
Yeah, there's not a lot of places to store this kind of cosplay.
Exactly.
Right, right. So what do you think has changed over the time since you've cosplayed until now?
It's gotten way bigger. Like, we started cosplaying together in 2009, and even just in the first 5 years, cosplay became more of a household word. When I first started cosplaying, and when I was in high school and stuff, and when I told people, oh, you know, on the weekends sometimes I cosplay, a lot of people were like, what is cosplay? I don't understand that. And the idea of a convention even was kind of crazy. But now, like, when I go to interviews or I'm at work and I'm like, oh, I'm a cosplayer, everyone's like, oh, cool, you go to Comic-Con. You know, like, everyone knows what that is now because, like, there's a ton of superhero movies. Comic-Con's gotten a lot bigger. Game of Thrones is, literally like a Dungeons and Dragons type fantasy, and is the most popular show ever. So I think nerd culture is in, and because of that, cosplay is in.
Star Wars is the most mainstream thing
exactly,
right now, you know? And as we've gone on, more of this pop culture
Getting big,
subculture fusion has happened to the point where subculture isn't really subculture anymore as far as conventions, cosplay, and all that goes.
Exactly, yeah.
I think another thing that's changed is the idea that cosplay was a lot simpler back then. And now there are so many people doing it in so many different ways. It's almost become a thing where no two cosplays of a different type could be compared because they're almost two wildly different kinds of cosplay.
And not only that, but there's like subgenres of cosplay now. Because like there are people who cosplay from video games like accurately, and then there's people who cosplay from video games realistically. Like a lot of the times I see different styles of cosplay because there's so much of it now. And
like I'll see somebody who rather than cosplay like Papyrus from Undertale as an actual walking physical skeleton, they'll do face paint in a casual outfit and that sort of stuff, which is just as good a cosplay as somebody who's walking on stilts and has like fake skeleton arms on and a big like papier mache like skeleton hat.
Yeah, or someone who does like a cardboard 8-bit would make just as much sense. Like
exactly.
So
but they're all different kinds, and I think
cosplay,
cosplay is so saturated now. There's an opportunity to expand one's view on cosplay and its quote unquote rules.
And because it's gotten so popular and so huge and so many people are doing it, cosplay's a lot easier now than it ever was, because like wigs are readily available all the time and they're really cheap, and like way back in the day they were all like shiny, plasticky, and like really expensive.
I mean, it's a step forward for cosplay and its growth and its recognition as not really a subculture any longer, because you have people like Yaya Han selling cosplay
Yeah,
materials and
patterns and
things
stuff, exactly.
in name brand stores.
Yeah,
You know.
it's amazing. We're really excited for it. We love that it's gotten so huge.
Yeah, I just, some people look at cosplay and have a fear of its spread or its growth or its commercialization. But that's the fate of everything that gets big enough. And I think while sometimes commercialization of a subculture can be somewhat detrimental to it, I think on the whole, the more publicity and the more growth cosplay sees, the better it's going to become.
Yeah,
the
I
more
think
fun
so.
it's going to be, the more opportunities there are going to be.
The easier it will be.
The easier,
The easier
it will be. And really, if any cosplayer could have anything, I think logically we'd all ask for it to be a little simpler.
Yeah, a little easier. A little easier, a little cheaper.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, what do you think is the most positive experience you've had as a cosplayer?
I really love when someone sees us in a cosplay that is their favorite character, and if we've pulled it off to a point where they get that like Disneyland, I saw the princess for the first time. That's why I cosplay. When I first saw a cosplayer, I think it was like back in 2006 or 2007. I went to a con for the very first time, and I went into the bathroom and I saw this like gorgeous Yuko cosplayer from XXholic. She had this space-time dress, and she was literally her. And like I was all of a sudden 7 years old, like back in Disneyland, and I was like, oh my god, that is her, And I like followed her around a little bit, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're really pretty and stuff. And then I was like, I realized you can do this. Like I can be my favorite characters. I can do this for somebody else. So still to this day, the most positive thing is like if someone today saw us and was like, oh my gosh, I'm an Astro too, like you're an Astro on what server are you on? Like that's my favorite part. It's definitely my favorite part.
I think one of our most positive experiences came from opportunity that cosplay has given us to travel. And we went to and worked as one of the guests at a convention in Mexicali, and we went down there and we were a guest, and it was this really amazing experience, because you think if you're in a place where you're not speaking the language and you're sort of unfamiliar with the territory, you're going to have like a rough, uncomfortable time. And I think the beauty of conventions and what this community does, because you're instantly in a space of like-minded individuals, is despite that there was an immense language barrier, just because we're both terrible and neither of us ever bothered to try and learn Spanish, which is on us completely. Despite that, we were able to not only like easily communicate with all of the people that were at the convention and all of the staff and all that, but we also had a really amazing time.
Yeah.
Like you think that cosplay and conventions would be different in different parts of the world, and it is, but it isn't.
Yeah.
We're still over here in the West End. It really was a very similar experience, and it was just way too much fun.
We're all still nerds. And I always tell people, like, you're going to have an easier time making friends at a convention because everyone here is guaranteed to have one similarity with you, which is they like anime, they like video games. They're bound to like one of those things is going to be kind of similar enough to make a friend. You can still
sit and have dinner with like 12 people who speak Spanish, and the 2 people who don't speak Spanish are still there, and we're all talking and we're all laughing and we're all just having an amazing
we still all
joined
know, like,
experience.
Let it go and like exactly, and can know like the pain of Attack on Titan. Like it's all the same.
It's a very fond sort of experience.
Yeah, we loved that. That con was amazing.
Very nice. Okay, so I know you're very involved in the cosplay community. What do you think you can do to promote cosplay positivity?
Our Tumblr is kind of based entirely on that. Most of our social media is entirely on that, and we focus on open book policy, and like almost catering to whatever questions we get. We are constantly answering for wig advice, or like if you could suggest a wig for a specific character, how do you make this? How did you make this? Like, how would you make this? We try to answer everything as much as we can, and we try to tell people, like, we try to spread the word that cosplay isn't as hard as a lot of people think it is. Because a lot of people think that getting into cosplay is difficult, or they're daunted by how much.
Because a lot of times somebody's first experience with a cosplay is seeing one of the pictures from one of these conventions of somebody who's like walking across the stage in their masquerade ready performance armor nonsense, and they go, oh wow, I'm not sure I'd be able to do that.
Especially for people who like can't sew or can't draw or paint. You know, a lot of times they tell me, oh, I'd love to cosplay, but I don't know how to sew. I'm like, I didn't either. Like, I made like 40 costumes before I knew how to sew. Like, you do not know how to sew at all. It's fine. So we try to spread that, and we also maintain a very strict policy on only positivity.
Yeah.
Like, we don't post
like if somebody
about
confronts
criticism.
us like personally about something, you know, very sort of cringy or awful or dramatic or anything like that personal, it's never out there.
Yeah.
You know,
We
because
don't post it, we don't address it, yeah.
It never affects the community positively to address something of like a smaller personal nature openly. I'm not talking like if somebody were harassing us, we're not going to say this person's a harasser, you know.
But it's
I'm
more,
not saying be quiet. I mean, like, it's more just like a personal.
It's more just like criticism is not our job, you know, and like even if it's constructive, unless they ask us how to make something, we're not going to do that. And it's also cosplay. The reason why we do it is because we love it so much, and we only want to put love back into it. So we don't ever talk about like the nastier side of cosplay or any of the drama or any of that kind of stuff. So once we maintain that and we only push out good things and encouragement, like by nature, you only get it back. I mean, now we really only see encouragement and support.
That and in interactions with people in the community or just anywhere, it's a lot easier to like fix a like slight break in a bridge and maintain a bridge structurally than to destroy and burn the whole thing down and then try to rebuild it later.
Yeah.
You know, it's easier to just like tack on some niceness, some positivity here, some like understanding here, and then like, you know, excuse the like cheesy analogy, but it really
it makes sense.
It's a lot easier to just handle everything nicely, even when you are met with levels of adversity. You don't confront it in a confrontational way.
And we always tell people, like, for the amount of like bad criticism we might receive, like for the like maybe 10 or so messages we get that are maybe negative, compared to like the 100 or 200 positive things, it's like not even worth mentioning. You know, cosplay is so much more. We've only got, if we've ever received badness, it's only like 8%. Really, it's like nothing, you know, compared to like all the rest of the good comments and support we receive from everybody. And I think that's true for almost everyone. I try to tell them that cosplay, the good always outweighs the bad, except for maybe like the price point. It's expensive.
Is there a new costume that you're working on right now that you can tell about, or?
Yeah, well, we're considering. I mean, these are brand new.
Right.
Like
So we just finished these.
Yeah, I saw
like
them.
last night.
Like last night.
Yeah. So I would say that we're considering cosplaying some Overwatch stuff.
Okay.
We're considering doing maybe Tracer and maybe either McCree or Reaper.
More Star Wars.
Unfortunately,
on the horizon.
yeah. When Star Wars came out, we weren't planning to cosplay anything at all, and then we saw it and we were like, shoot, we've really got to do Rey and Kylo. And now that we did Rey and Kylo, we realized we sort of sold our souls. Because there's 2 more movies coming out and Rogue One and like a bunch of spin-offs. So I'm like, oh no, if Rey has 3 costume changes, that means I have 3 costume changes. So, and unfortunately, he's Kylo Ren and General Hux. So he's got 2 characters.
Either of those.
Yeah, I gotta make both of them. So. Yeah.
Okay, so finally, do you have any advice for starting cosplayers?
It's a lot easier than it looks. You don't have to sew and you don't have to make it from scratch. Absolutely not. You can go to a thrift store, buy a shirt, alter it, paint it, and put it on, and it's totally fine. We still do that. We've been cosplaying for 8 years, and there's like, these are pants that we bought and altered and put foam on, you know. These are gloves that we bought and altered and put foam on, you know. And like, this dress I made from scratch, but this hat is bought and altered.
It's a costume hat.
Yeah, exactly.
That we just altered and put foam on.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to do it completely from scratch. You don't have to know how to sew. I hot glued all my costumes for the first couple of years. It's totally fine. They looked awesome anyway. So It's really a lot easier, and then always take confidence in the fact that someone somewhere has made something similar to you. And that if you go to Google and put in Sailor Moon tiara cosplay tutorial, you will find one, you know? And like, there's plenty of people out there who will answer your questions. Cosplayers are usually really helpful. You can always ask us, you know, we're really open to that. And then just, you know, relax, take it easy, and like, just go out and try it. That's really it, you know?
You're more than welcome to, if you want to, dive straight into Kamui's book of lights and cosplay.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want, you know, if you want to do that,
we've met
both
people
to yourself.
who their first costume was like an Iron Man suit, and they nailed it. So like,
you know, so you don't have to take it, but don't be intimidated by the idea of cosplay, because it is always infinitely more simple than it.
It doesn't have to be hard unless you want it to be, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you're choosing the hard life.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Do you have any final messages for the audience?
No, I would say
Drink water. You need to drink water.
Drink water and come to Fanime next year.
Yeah,
it
come
was
to
a blast
Fanime.
this year.
Yeah, Fanime is amazing. Definitely recommend this.
First
It's
one,
awesome.
it was a blast.
Yeah, love it. Love Fanime.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.